Say, man, you see my crab cakes? Till I'm all alone. If you see my crab cakes, tell her things went wrong. Don't call on the phone and bring a black draw home. A little tartar too. Come on, little girl, tell me what you want to do. Them Maryland crab cakes are the best in town. Them Maryland crab cakes are the best in town. So come on, baby, let's get Louisiana down. If you see my crab cake, have you seen my crab cake? If you see my crab cake, tell I'm all alone. Tell her I still love her, and when she comes back home.
Now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening. Hope you're doing all right. We got a busy show scheduled for today. That's right, busy show scheduled for today, like we try to do every day. But first and foremost, the show's being brought to you in part by CAT's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service. If you're looking for a limo, and you're someplace in the U.S. of A., well, then you need to give my girl Kat a call. That's 202-351-7496, 202-351-7496. Kat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service is the official limo service of this year's Billy C. Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend, ceremony, gathering, get-together, whatever you want to call it. It's taking place November 16th, 17th, and 18th, so make your plans now. Visit the website, www.BillyCBoxing.com, and click one of the banners that say Billy C. Boxing Hall of Fame. That's right. It'll get you to the latest information on that. I strongly advise you to get your tickets now. That's all I'm going to say. Give Kat a call. Just remember, she's my girl. 202-351-7496. 202-351-7496. And, of course, the show's being brought to you in part by Campanaro and Tomkovich. If you need a lawyer, use the ones that keep me out of trouble. And that's Campanaro and Tomkovich, 845-221-4099. Campanaro and Tomkovich will help you knock out your legal problem. That's right, man. They'll knock them out. 845-221-4099. I'm talking about hotties in the office. It's worth it to just go there and get a free consultation because I'll pick up the tab. 845-221-4099. And, of course, my friends over at the Halftime Bar and Grill. That's right, Route 9, South Glens Falls. Give them a call if you want to make a dinner reservation. 518-792-4869. Swing by. The outdoor section is open of the facility. There's always some food specials and drink specials. You know, I forgot to mention, last time I was there, they had this prime rib deal that was this prime rib with vegetable and potato and all of that. I think it was $11. Maybe it was $11.99. It was either $10.99 or $11.99. And unbelievable. Downtown, Leona Brown, former 3-time female world champion. She was there, and she ate it. She was like, "Man, this stuff is good for $12." Yeah, it was $12. It was $11.99. But anyway, give them a call, 518-792-4869. And also, don't forget about Gleason's, man. We're trying to find one of you. That's right, one of you to go and join up with their fantasy boxing camp, or better yet, if you know someone that signed up and that they're going to be taking advantage of the fantasy boxing camp, which is August 26th, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. If you know someone doing that, let us know. Tell them to send us an email because we're trying to find someone that's a Talking Boxing with Billy C listener or viewer to follow around. We want to write a story about you. We want to film your footage of training and of course your fight. So definitely sign up to Gleason's. You can get to Gleason's by visiting our website www.billycboxing.com and click the Gleason's banner, or you could give them a call 718-797-2872 718-797-2872. Tell them Billy C sent you and ask for the Billy C discount on your boxing fantasy camp that you're going to sign. Then get a hold of us, because we definitely want to do it. I got some, emails to read from the mailbag. Now, coming up a little later on the show, we have Amy Green going to be doing her female boxing report. She's coming up a little later. And we also have a contender. Now, he's slated to fight Antonio Margarito. Originally, it was in May. Now it's in July. They just had another report on ESPN about the fight. Abel Perry is going to join us, so timing is everything. And Abel Perry will be with us in a little bit, so stay tuned for that. I got to laugh at my man Biggerback. He was in, I guess he stopped by the chat room. Now, we developed a chat room on BillyCBoxing.com, with the intent that people could go there any time. But what's happened is people only go there during the show. And occasionally we see somebody pop in there and nobody's in there, So, Biggerbuck was in there. And, I urge everyone, set your homepage to BillyCBoxing.com. Make the website your first stop for all your boxing news, articles, and all that stuff. You got to look around the site. Not only is there stuff on the front page, but there's a section called The Latest Boxing News. If you click that, guess what you're going to find? The latest boxing news. So check it out. And while you're there, go in the chat room, man. Maybe if more people start hanging out there, it'll be worthwhile, because the one thing I hear all the time about chat rooms and message boards and all of that is it's filled with a lot of idiots, and we police that. We don't want that, and we don't have pop-ups. We don't have any of that stuff. So if you're just looking to talk boxing with fellow knowledgeable fans, then go to our forums and also our chat room. But Biggerbuck, he goes in there And he writes, I spit on the WBC. I guess a lot of people have sent me, in one way or another, their thoughts on that day. I kept spitting on the WBC. But anyway, Given Quality, my man Given Quality says, Sergio, 165 fight night against Barker. Sergio, 168 fight night against Paul Williams. He says he is not a midget like Pacquiao, so he can't get away with that BS that he's a small guy in his division. No one believes that crap. Truth is, we don't want it with half the 106. The truth is, he doesn't want it with half the 168 guys waiting. Listen, man, he's not a big middleweight. You know, you look at middleweights that weigh in at 160. Tell me what they're weighing the fight night. You know, you're saying 165, 168 for Sergio on fight night. After he weighed 160. That's a 5 or an 8 pound gain. That's still below what the average is, right? Don't most fighters gain at least 10? Maybe 8. Maybe 8 is the average. Listen. The point is this. Who else is left for Mayweather? I mean, then maybe he should just retire. Maybe he should just retire, because if he's not going to fight Manny, there's nobody left. There's nobody left for him. Given Quality also says, Billy, I told you, lay off the race issue. You Italians, and he puts Italians. So obviously, Given Quality knows how to rub the Italians the wrong way. We hate that. The Italians. Come on, man. Come on. He says, you don't know how to get a point across. It doesn't sound good whatever you're trying to say. Keep it boxing unless you're referring to ducked fighters because of their... I'm not even going to say it. But, this is in response for me saying that I felt that there were more... a combination of more prejudiced white or black Americans towards Asian Americans than there were between white or Asian, or a combination of both white and Asian towards black Americans. So I just felt that collectively, black and white Americans are more prejudiced towards the Asians than anyone else. And this was in response to somebody saying, "Oh, it's only because I forget what it was about." But yeah, it's tough. Given Quality's right, it's tough always talking about that. It's just that in my world, I don't even look at it like that, and I can't stand that it still exists, but I guess that's the reality part, and Given Quality is just, I think he's looking out for me, so I appreciate it. Biggerback says, Sergio might have a better chance with Floyd than Pacquiao. Pacquiao's jab couldn't hurt a fly. Sergio's jab might be the best non-heavyweight jab. He says that's important when you're fighting Floyd. Both are fast. Sergio will have a size advantage. Pac will have the speed advantage. I don't know if Sergio has a better shot at Floyd than Pacquiao. I really don't. I think first of all, I'm not going to say that Sergio's not fast, but he's not as fast as Pacquiao, and I don't know the way his defense is, and I'm not saying Pacquiao has an impenetrable defense. I just think that Floyd would definitely get through Sergio's defense because he really doesn't have one. He stands there with his hands down, and Floyd will pick him apart. I think Floyd beats Sergio fairly easily. I think he beats Sergio easier than he beats Manny Pacquiao. But hold that thought. I got to take a break. And I'll finish up with the emails in about 2.
If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Roselli Enterprises. Roselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flow boys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Roselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RoselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C sent you.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, All the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the IDO computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the number 15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IDO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the number 15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at iboboxing.com.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you. I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C. dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C, a radio show. You're watching us on LDL TV, the replay. That's right. Glad you could join us. Give a shout out to my man John. Forget John. I want to talk to Dawn. I want to talk to Michelle. There's only two I want to talk to. Forget John. Anyway, we're in the middle of the emails, which we do every day at the beginning of the show. Biggerback says, I'm a premium subscriber, yet I choose to watch you on YouTube just to see your ugly mug. Man, where's the love? Where's the love from the... Come on, man. Come on, man. He wants to say... listen, speaking of the premium podcast, to me, that's the best way to get the show. I mean, that's how I got to be honest. I very rarely listen to the show once we do it, but when I do, I don't drink beer often, but when I do, that guy, the most interesting man. But when I do listen to it, I like the podcast only because, I get to listen to it on my terms, when I want to. And that's what I think is the whole idea of the premium podcast is just that. It's the fact that, you get all the content, and it costs you $15 for the year. And even if you only listen to it once a week or twice a week, at least you got it at your fingertips, and, you can go back and listen to whatever show you want. So many people, they just, they'll suffer, when something's not convenient for them, like a time or whatever. And, for $15, I mean, come on, man. Everybody should be a premium subscriber. It's $15 for the year, by the way. Not a month. But anyway, Biggerbuck says, Biggerback says, Biggerbuck. I wish I had a Biggerbuck. Biggerback says, I'm a premium subscriber. You have to choose to watch your ugly mug. Anyway, you're right. Floyd is better than Pacquiao, and he's the perfect weapon against southpaws. And he has the perfect weapon. You're right. Floyd is better than Pacquiao, and he has the perfect weapon against southpaws, the short, straight lead right. But Pacquiao has a chance if he does what Tarver did against Roy Jones Jr. Yeah, knock him out. But Pacquiao is smaller and easier to hit than was with the case with Tarver and Roy. I don't know. I guess he is easier to hit. It's all the Floyd. I want to see Pacquiao fight Floyd. That's it. I mean, Floyd. I just can't wait for him to go in a slammer, even though it's just a country club. Hawk says all the fans will call in for Mayweather to fight Pacquiao at 147. or Martinez at 154. Mayweather cherry-picked neither, and he chose Cotto, who no fans wanted to see. I got to disagree with you, Hawk. First of all, I agree with the fact that, Mayweather didn't cherry-pick either one, and he chose Cotto, which, in my opinion, wasn't a cherry-picked fight. And I think the fans did want to see that fight after it was announced. They may not have been asking for the fight initially, I think, but once it was announced, I thought that most people were happy to see the fight. And as it turned out, second in pay-per-view buys in the history of pay-per-view buys for boxing. We're still talking about the fight. I mean, it was a great, entertaining affair. So I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with that. He says, Floyd is the king of cherry-picking and knocking off the B-level fighters. Most people thought Floyd would mop the floor with Cotto, but Floyd struggled big time. Floyd fans criticized Pacquiao for struggling with Juan Manuel Marquez, while Floyd deserves the same criticism for struggling with Cotto. He says, also, Razor Ruddock sucked. He fought Tyson with one hand and lost. What do you mean he sucked and he fought Tyson with one hand and lost? The thing is, first of all, let me address this. Pacquiao, Pacquiao struggled against Juan Manuel Marquez because, as been proven many times over, Pacquiao can't handle a crisp counterpuncher, and the fact that Juan Manuel Marquez has his number, man. So yeah, he looked terrible against him. And as far as Cotto and Mayweather, maybe Cotto looked a little. Maybe Mayweather didn't look that great against Cotto, but that's because he was also not fighting his fight. He was kind of fighting the fight that people like me wanted to see. And I still think he deserves credit for it. He didn't knock Cotto down, or he didn't get knocked down, and but it was an action-packed fight. I don't know. I just don't think that we can criticize either fighter. The only criticism I have is Cotto complaining that he felt he got robbed, which I don't know about that. As far as Razor Ruddock, I don't think he sucked at all during his time. He said, Hawk says he fought Tyson with one hand and lost. I don't recall him having a hurt hand against Mike Tyson. But, with Mike Tyson, when he fought Razor Ruddock, you needed both hands and maybe a gun, too, to beat Tyson. So, the one time I thought that fight, there was one fight against Razor Ruddock that it was kind of a questionable fight, that the decision was extremely close. So I don't know, man. Normally I agree with Hawk, but I disagree with him today. Hawk goes on to say, Floyd is about as gangsta as an older version of Justin Bieber. That's funny. Trying to be he says, older version of Justin Bieber trying to be a gangster. Although Floyd does like to hang with the gangsters, he uses poor judgment. So, I don't know, maybe he is a gangster. Most gangsters are stupid clowns anyway. Floyd Mayweather needs a posse around him to stroke his ego. Listen, let me just say this. First of all, I don't know. I've made the statement that I didn't think Floyd was the sharpest tool in the shed, but you know what? I don't think he's stupid either. I think he's a pretty smart business guy, to be honest with you. When you really, when I got to be honest, the honest is that he's not stupid, all right? And as far as gangsters go, I'm sure there's stupid ones, and I'm sure there's smart ones, just like, there's stupid doctors and there's smart doctors. There's stupid carpenters and there's smart carpenters. It's all relative, But, I just want to say this, a lot of times, young people that get involved with gangs or whatever, sometimes it's not by choice, man. So, just keep that in the back of your mind. And then once you get in, you're in a different life, and that's the way it is, So, I'm not knocking them. I just felt that, for what they believe, if you talk to them and for the world they live in, and to have somebody, in a sense, mocking them like Floyd does, what I meant yesterday was I would have thought that they would have gotten pissed off. You know, it's just my thoughts. But who knows? Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe they look up to him. I don't know. He says, I also think all boxers should be weighed before they walk into the ring because, frankly, I don't believe much of what Floyd says. Already the Pac versus Floyd fight has lost its shine. Same for Martinez. It's all old. I don't know if the Pacquiao fight lost its shine yet, Hawk, because in my opinion, it's the only fight left for Floyd. You know, it's the only one left. And as far as weighing on the way to the ring, you know, I don't have a problem with having the weigh-ins the day before. You know, and I also don't have a problem with having the weigh-ins the day of. Either way, it's going to be relative. By having it the day before, what you end up with is certain body types that can, you know, dry out better than others. You know, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is a perfect example. You know, he dries out, makes a 160-pound limit the day before. 24 hours later, he steps in the ring at 178, 180. You know, that's a huge, you know, I can't see how that could be healthy, but anyway. And finally, my man Brian. Now, Brian's been a long-time listener. I remember him from a long time ago. I'm trying to remember. I think he was around for the original morning show with Jeremy, and you know, he's been a long-time listener. So shout out to my man Brian. But he says, I absolutely agree with you about Andre Ward. I love his character and his work ethic. Not crazy about his style, but can recognize that he's very skilled and is a born winner. I've always said that, you know, he does everything right. You know, in my opinion, Andre Ward just doesn't have it, you know, whatever it is. You know, he doesn't have that charisma or something. I don't know. But in the ring, he's extremely talented. There's no question about it. He says, however, he's got unfinished business at 168. I was a huge fan of the Super 6. It didn't even bother me how long it took. And I agree with you on that one, Brian. He says Ward may not have had anything to do with the expectation that the winner would fight Butte. I can't remember what he has said in the past. But sometimes these matchups emerge organically, and I believe that he has a responsibility to the fans and to the sport to step up to the fans' expectations and get through Butte before moving on. If he chooses to avoid Butte, I would lose respect for him as a sportsman, maybe not as a businessman, but as a sportsman. And I'm also going to spill the beans on Brian. He says, I'm a huge fan of you, Billy C., but you could even probably tell me that Mayweather was your nephew, and I'd still listen to your show. But, man, stop eating cough drops while you're talking. Sounds awful when I listen with my headphones on. You and Dave Wilcox, you know. Listen, yes, I got to throw down a cough drop when I'm doing the show. You know why? Try talking for 2 hours. You know, I'd be like, be coughing. I'll be, you know, it soothes my throat as I talk. So I'll try not to, you know, put my cough drops in my. Anyway, the bottom line is, you know, I can understand where my man Brian's coming from with Andre Ward. I said it yesterday, you know, and you know, just at 168. But, you know, and I don't think it has anything to do with Ward. I really think that, first of all, Ward's a young guy. We all knew he was going to move up. As a matter of fact, after his last fight, we all even said that, you know, when I remember Alex brought it up, you know, we all even said that his days are numbered at 168. And when you sprinkle in the fact that he's got a promoter that really doesn't open up his pocketbook too often, he's got to go to wherever the money is. Now, ironically, Chad Dawson is with a promoter who's got the same, you know, glued shut checkbook as Goosen does. And I think collectively they're figuring, well, you know, if we can join forces, maybe we can, you know, do something bigger. And I think that that's the driving force behind Chad Dawson against Andre Ward now. That fight will be there a year from now, you know, and I do agree that for Andre Ward, it would be nice to fight Butte and beat Butte, then walk away on his terms as the undisputed top super middleweight. I mean, it just goes such a long way. If he walks away now and goes and fights Chad Dawson, people are always going to have that doubt. Well, what about Butte? Because obviously, if we remove Andre Ward from the super middleweight mix, the guy that's clearly on top after that has to be Lucien Butte. There is no question. Right now, we can argue, but if Andre Ward walks away, there's no question. And although I like that matchup, but great email, Brian. I'll try not to take as many cough drops as I normally do, but keep up listening. I appreciate it. Hey, I got to take a break. When I come back, I get some boxing news to talk about, and then up on the horizon, we have Abel Perry joining us in a little bit.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
Broadcasting in all corners of the globe, on the web and radio.
He would scoff at a stretcher, that man, I would think.
You're listening to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. from upstate New York in the good old US of A.
Boxing is here to stay because we are here to stay.
The best 2 hours of boxing talk on the airwaves.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C, the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C, damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. My fellow Americans, good evening. Welcome back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It's great to be here discussing the sweet science with everybody. I love boxing. I love talking boxing. It's what I do.
Bill.
Wait, what?
Bill.
What? Why are you interrupting me? What?
Wrong.
What's the problem?
Billy,
what?
C.
I did not have...
We're gonna have to ask
wrong
you.
Speech. What do you mean wrong, Billy C? What's going on here? Fine, I'll go. I just wanted to talk some boxing on TPSradio.net. That's all I wanted to do. I don't need your damn show. I'll get my own talking wrestling with the other Billy C. Yeah, that sounds good. I've always been a Hulkamaniac anyway.
Broadcasting live, brother. Welcome back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. on the mighty TPSradio.net, brother. What you gonna do, brother?
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C, a radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel, and I want to welcome the Fight Now audience just joining us like they do Monday to Friday from 6 to 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you don't have Fight Now on your sports channel lineup for your television set, well, then you need to call your TV provider and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. It's that simple. Pick up the phone, call your TV provider, whether it's satellite or cable, and tell them you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. For all the information about Fight Now, visit their website, www.fightnow.com. Speaking of now, we're looking for Gleason's. Now, we know where Gleason's is in Brooklyn, but we're looking for you. If you're going to be taking the Gleason's Boxing Fantasy Camp program this year, it's August 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. And we want you. We want to follow you around. We want to make you a star. That's right. if you sign up for the boxing camp, let us know, because we're going to put all the names in a hat and pull somebody out. And the winner is going to have a story written about them. We're going to follow you around. We're going to cover your whole adventure with the Boxing Fantasy Camp. So make sure you sign up now with Gleason's. You can give them a call, 718-797-2872, 718-797-2872, or visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and go to the Gleason's banner, which is right there on the front page. So anyway, in the news, I got my man Mac. The chat room is a little slow today. Only my man Mac is in there, so I had to give a shout out to the Philippines, as you know, or maybe not. My man Mac is a loyal listener. He tunes in from the Philippines every day, and no, his favorite fighter isn't Manny Pacquiao. Imagine that. It happens to be Juan Manuel Marquez. So hey, just a little FYI for all the yous out there. But I'm just jealous of Mac, man. He's surrounded by all these gorgeous Filipino women. You know how I feel about Filipino women. I'm just dying to get over there. But none of them want me over. None of them are sending me a plane ticket. Mac's like, you got to come over. Whoa. I mean, if I could come over, I'd be there. I'd be in his office right now doing the show. So I'm waiting for one of them. But anyway, we were going to be waiting for Antonio Margarito to try his best at middleweight, but apparently we're going to be waiting a little longer. Now, we talked about his fight being rescheduled. It was last week at least, maybe even the week before. It was first deemed as a foot injury. Well, now reports out of ESPN.com said it's an Achilles injury, which it's not ripped or broken or anything like that. It's a severe strain that is basically requiring him to stay off his feet. And if he doesn't, it would have required surgery. And that injury is 6 months minimum of not moving, and then the rehabilitation. So that could have been a career ender for Antonio Margarito. But nonetheless, it's looking like it's rescheduled for July against the same opponent, Abel Perry. Now, speaking of Abel Perry, we're going to be having him. He's calling in a few minutes, so we'll be able to talk to him. So, all right, Joe K.O. I haven't seen him in a while. What's up, Joe K.O.? Glad to see him swing by the chat room. Haven't seen him in there for a while. Hope he wasn't cheating on us. Hope he wasn't listening to some second-class show or something above us. But anyway, the reason why I'm bringing up this Margarito Abel Perry thing is, we just read, or I just got a press release, and I talked about it on yesterday's show, about the WBC, saying that the Chavez Jr. and the Sergio Martinez fight, which is a joke in itself, but, if you didn't follow the bouncing jerk of the WBC, Jose Sulaiman, originally Sergio Martinez was the world champion, the middleweight world champion as defined by the WBC. For no reason at all, the WBC decides to strip him of that title and gives him the diamond-studded title. Now, you would think that the diamond-studded title is, as far as recognition, is above the regular old world title. I mean, you got your regular old world title, and then you got your super-duper diamond-studded title. But nay, because the WBC decides to strip Sergio Martinez of that title, gives him the, so-called elevates him to the diamond-studded title, ultimately gives Chavez Jr. a shot. He wins it, and now it's been Chavez Jr.'s title. And now Martinez has to earn a shot at the title he was stripped from, which is a big joke, right? But the WBC announced that it's done, that they claim that they have signed papers in their hands from both sides agreeing that they will fight each other in September. They went as far as to say in September. They didn't say fall, which could be September, October, November. They said September. Well, it was on ESPN.com yesterday, late yesterday. As a matter of fact, past 3 p.m. yesterday, it was posted on ESPN.com. First of all, the old story that Margarito and Abel Perry was rescheduled. But at the end of the article, they write, and according to Dan Raphael, and listen, let me just start off by saying this. You guys know I can't stand Dan Raphael, all right? However, I will give this man 100% credit that I have very rarely read anything that he has posted that the facts aren't straight. Now, my hang-up with him is that he's pompous, he thinks who he is, and quite honestly, he's not. He doesn't know the sport of boxing. He's a good writer. He is a good reporter. He's got the connections with the promoters where he gets some inside information before anyone else. He's great at finding all of the intricacies of the contracts. Man, what did somebody put in this cough drop? You know, all the intricacies. What? I can't even say that word today. I can't even say the word. All the hidden little secrets of the contracts of boxing contracts, and you know, he's great at that. And at the end of his piece, he writes, according to Top Rank, if Margarito can rebound, he's in line for another major fight. Top Rank has talked about a possible fight in the fall with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. if Chavez gets by Andy Lee in June in Texas. No mention of Sergio Martinez. Crazy, crazy stuff going on over at Billy C's English department. Can't even say intricacies. Can't even say it. Intricacies. No. Whatever. The deep, beep, beep. Hey, Bonnie. Speaking of the WBC, they announced the status of their super welterweight division. Apparently, there was a fight, and you can check this out under the Talking Boxing with Billy C. On the Billy C. Boxing website under latest boxing news. It says they said that they ordered a elimination bout between their number 1 and number 2 ranked contenders, which was Vanessa Martirosyan against Alfredo Angulo, and the WBC wanted to determine the mandatory contender for the super welterweight division. However, Vanessa Martirosyan declined to fight in that fight. Did not want to fight Alfredo Angulo. So the WBC sanctioned a semifinal bout between Angulo and James Kirkland with the condition that the winner would have to fight Vaness for the official challenger's position. Kirkland beat Angulo on March 30th, and the WBC ordered a final elimination bout between Vanessa Martirosyan and James Kirkland. James Kirkland suffered an injury, and he reported to the WBC that he could not fight Martirosyan, and the WBC accepted Urslandi Lara to fight Vanessa Martirosyan in a final elimination bout. The winner of that fight will become the official challenger to Saul Alvarez. And Top Rank officially communicated to the WBC that Martirosyan declined to fight Lara for the position of mandatory challenger. What's going on here with Martirosyan? Why is he turning down these fights? He turns down Angulo, now he's turning down Urslandi Lara. The WBC has consistently supported Martirosyan and wishes him the best of luck. The doors of the WBC will remain open to him whenever he's ready to continue his career. You know, the WBC is making it like his career is done because he doesn't want to fight for one of his garbage belts. And you know, maybe that's the bottom line. Maybe what they're not saying, see, this is the WBC's news. Maybe what the WBC is saying is that Top Rank and Vanessa Martirosyan doesn't want to pay their sanctioning fees or whatever. Maybe there's another reason we don't know yet. You know, but they're saying that hey, you know, like his career is on hold because he doesn't want to fight for their trinket. You know, so we'll have to wait and see who they can scrape up. But I find that extremely funny, extremely funny. What's not too funny is what's going on in D.C., Washington, D.C. Now, Golden Boy Now, his CEO. Now you heard me talking about Murphy all the time. David Murphy's a regular listener, viewer, or whatever, and he's generally in the chat room. He's not in there yet, but generally he comes in right around this time. And he's pretty vocal up on our forum. So if you haven't checked out our forum, go to our website and go to the Billy C forums. He made a comment about Richard Schaefer. Now, Richard Schaefer is moving the show. They had a June 30th show planned on Showtime in Washington, D.C. And because of all the stuff that's going on with Amir Khan and Lamont, you dummy, Peterson, Golden Boy decided to pull the plug, and they're moving the show from Washington, D.C. on June 30th out to California. And it's going to be part of Showtime's New Generation, which actually has some great fighters lined up. If you know who's going to be on that card, it's going to be a pretty decent card. But the reason is that Richard Schaefer said, hey, I don't want to have any problems, bringing a show to a place that we're kind of in court over. And he's talking about the Khan-Peterson issue. And Murphy made a post up on the Billy C Boxing Forum, and he said, Richard Schaefer doesn't really, he felt that he really doesn't know the sport that well. And it's true when you think of it. Schaefer, although he's been involved in some huge blockbuster deals, he's not a boxing guy. He was a banker, a business banker. And from that respect, he's obviously, we can't knock Golden Boy for the success that they've had. So something's working. But, I commented, and that's the problem, man. It just seems that, we don't have enough boxing people in the sport of boxing. It's to me, it's strange. It's strange, man. But anyway, that card's moving. So we'll keep you posted on that. Marvelous Marvin Sansona. I love this kid. I got to see him win his title. I got to see him defend it. I got to meet him and Samson Lukowicz. And then I saw him lose his title, not live. I saw him live all those other times. I saw him lose his title, not live. But he's coming back. He's a former WBO super flyweight champ. He's got a record of 16 wins, a loss, and a draw, 13 coming by knockout. He's taking on Orlando Cruz, who's 18 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. It's going to be the main event. It's going to be taking place in Las Vegas, and it's going to be part of ESPN Friday Night Fights. The co-main event is pretty good, too. Russian heavyweight Magomed Abdulzamov. He's undefeated, 14-0 with 14 knockouts, is going to be defending his bogus WBC United States Silver. I'm not kidding you. It's the WBC United States Silver Heavyweight title. Come on, man. Against Maurice Freight Train Bryan. Now, we just saw this guy. This guy was virtually unknown until we saw him fight on NBC Sports and lose at the last minute. So, and now he's getting the shot at the of that title. Very rarely do you see fighters that actually lose a fight and then come back and get a title. Now that's not the case with established fighters, but Freight Train is he's got 15 pro fights. This was a guy on his upswing and got thrown into the limelight and performed pretty well, but lost against what was his name? Bryant. I forget his name, but he's actually going to be fighting on the card again. But Maurice Freight Train Bryan, yeah, he's going to be getting a shot at the coveted U.S. NBC Silver title. But Adrian Dockanu retired. He hung up the gloves, man. 27 wins, 3 losses, and a draw. 27 wins with 3 losses, no draws. They called him the Shark. He's a fighter that was a world champion. He's a Romanian fighter who kind of relocated to Canada. I've gotten to see him fight a couple of times. He cut a little too easy. Bottom line is he retired. Says, I don't want to talk about boxing. I like to do boxing, and I like to He says, I wanted to show people real boxing and real quality. It's not my style to talk. For me, talk is cheap. I like the things to happen, not to talk about it. You know, I think he was a throwback. I know we use that term a lot, and I was saying Glenn Johnson the other day is really one of the only throwback fighters, but Dakanau definitely is a throwback fighter. I give him kudos for saying goodbye now and knowing when to say when. Speaking of knowing when to say something, I got my man Abel Perry is calling in, so hang tight.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio with no worthy contenders. It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C, a radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel, and if you don't have Fight Now on your sports channel lineup, then you need to give them a call right now. Who's them? Your local television provider. That's who's them. Whether it's satellite or cable, give them a call right now and tell them you want the Fight Now television station added to your sports channel lineup. For all the information about the channel, you can find it at their website, www.fightnow.com. And speaking of now, joining us, junior middleweight Abel Perry. Good morning, Abel.
Good morning, Billy. What's going on, man?
Oh, not too much. Thanks for taking some time with us early this morning. And first and foremost, I got to ask you, you got a big fight coming up, real big. It's against Antonio Margarito. Now, I know he hurt his foot or something, and the fight has it been rescheduled? I'm hearing July dates. Is that true?
Yeah, they were at first saying June 30th, and they came back. Same venue in Tucson at the amphitheater at the Casino del Sol, July 7th. So the fight between Margarito and myself is a go for July 7th, and preparations are in full steam right now.
All right, great. July 7th. Okay, good. So now it brings me to this question. What's it feel like getting an opportunity to fight a guy like Antonio Margarito? Because let's face it, you get a W over him, and you're going to be right in the mix.
Yeah, it's the opportunity of a lifetime. When the call came, if I'd like to fight Margarito, that's not the kind of opportunity that you can ever say no to. And with the people around me, people who supported, and particularly those that aren't in the business but are just supportive, you right away you start hearing things about the scandal and check his hand wraps and that sort of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, with hand wraps, without hand wraps, Antonio Margarito was arguably, an all-time great type of pressure fighter, in that regard. And he's definitely in the mix of the relevant fighters for this era. And the opportunity to fight him and do something for my career is just, it's amazing.
Yeah, and you're 100% correct. I mean, as a welterweight, when he reigned as champion, he was the guy, and a lot of our listeners are critical of Floyd Mayweather for avoiding him. He's now fighting in your division, so to speak, in the junior middleweight division, and, he feels that he can get another big fight, but a guy like you, you could get that big fight, and I love seeing these opportunities. Now, let's take a look at your career. You're doing real well. And in 2008 and beginning of 2009, you had 3 losses in a row. And then really when you dissect your career from that point on, with the exception of 1 loss to a young and prominent fighter now, too, Jonathan Gonzalez, and then an old wily veteran in Grady Brewer, you've turned your career around. What did you do to get yourself back on track?
It was I was really doing things without, a good team behind me. I was fighting, and I built my record early on in the Northwest boxing scene over there. It's kind of a club scene, and thing where it's a lot of fighters, not a lot of good fighters. And the first loss, I wasn't really in the gym, wasn't really training, not to make an excuse or anything, but bumped into a guy, James De La Rosa, and that's the fight that everyone will look me up and see online. And I looked horrible, wasn't intelligent. It was the first fighter who could match my athleticism. And it was just something that at that point I just wasn't ready for in my career. had losses afterwards that, you know, I don't necessarily agree with. I thought I went to these guys' hometown and beat them against Joseph Gomez and Donald Camarena. I thought I beat both of those guys decisively. Like you said, Jonathan Gonzalez was just a huge guy. We were supposed to be fighting at 47, and he came in at 56 and then cut weight down to 54. I hydrated up to 59, or 49 rather, and we made the fight happen. You know, it was just one of those things where I was always taking fights on short notice, flying around, and I got hooked up with Bobby Dobbs. I had some people that got me a fight on one of the shows, and went there and fought a guy, Chris Overby, and got a first-round KO. And little by little, you know, Bobby and I just crossed paths more often. And after the Grady Brewer fight, another fight where I felt like I won, styles just matched up real ugly in that fight. But Bobby said, you know, he'd be interested in working with me. And ever since then, he's just done a phenomenal job of keeping me busy, you know, putting the right people in front of me. And now, you know, we were just talking recently, you know, about a step up, and I don't think there's a better opportunity for a step up than Antonio Margarito. So that's where we're looking at.
It's a huge step up, and since the Grady Brewer fight, really, it's only been since last year, you know, last July. 5 wins in a row, 4 by knockout, and it's getting you this opportunity. Clearly, and you alluded to it yourself when we first started talking, Antonio Margarito is by far the best opponent you've ever faced. I mean, in terms of level of opposition, he's you know, 2 levels up. How do you plan on being competitive with him, and what's your game plan, if you can discuss any of it?
I plan on being competitive. I don't want to get too much into detail with that, but the key with Antonio Margarito, I believe, is to fight when I'm ready to fight, and box the rest of the time. You know, everyone goes, and, you know, especially after the Dakota fight, everyone just says, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. But he's still a world-class fighter, and in order for me to beat him, there's going to be, you know, points throughout a 10-round fight where a fight is going to have to break out. I'm not going to sit and be on the bicycle and run from this guy, but I do intend to box him intelligently. I have far superior hand speed, and, you know, and that wasn't even evident in the De La Rosa fight that everyone will look, and I'm sure they'll show clips from that night when we fight. But I have better hand speed, I have great footwork, combination punching, and you know, I've got good power in both hands, you know, so if I can put some shots together, stay intelligent, and that's the game plan, and keep defense tight and just have fun, you know, have fun and enjoy this opportunity and make the most of it.
Well, I couldn't have said it better, because that's what you're going to have to do, and I appreciate you taking some time with us this morning. Good luck in your fight against Antonio Margarito, and do us a favor, you know, win, lose, or draw, you know, we're going to be in your corner, but win, lose, or draw, give us a shout. We'd love to have you back on, and you can talk about the fight itself, all right?
Billy, that sounds great, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, brother, take care.
Take care.
That's Abel Perry, Antonio Margarito's next opponent, and you heard it from Abel himself. July 7th, it's been rescheduled. For some reason, I saw somewhere that I thought it was even later than that, like July 21st or something like that. But nonetheless, we heard it from Abel himself. July 7th, Antonio Margarito against Abel Perry. Great opportunity for Abel. We wish him well. Hey, I got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. now has official merchandise available on TalkinBoxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TalkinBoxing.com and place your order today.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out his ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
You beat Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh? What?
We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
As Billy C sits here in the multi-million-dollar Talkin' Boxing Studios, sipping a fine wine before you're even out of bed, you should be thinking, damn, I wish I had a mustache like his. It's the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C show. He's Billy C, and you're not. Sucks to be you.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C, our radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. If you don't have the Fight Now channel on your sports channel lineup, then the hell are you waiting for, man? Pick up the phone and call your TV provider and tell them that you want Fight Now right now, whether it's satellite dish or cable. You can get Fight Now right now, especially if you have AT&T Uverse. Give them a call, man. They're waiting to hear from you. And any other TV provider as well. For all the information about the site, about the channel. Today's one of those days, huh? Well, can somebody put a little, what in my coffee? For all the information about Fight Now, check out their website, www.fightnow.com. And don't forget, every night is Fight Night on Fight Now, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the site for the latest listing. Just had Abel Perry on, and he says July 7th. The report out by ESPN said July 21st. You get the feeling that nobody knows, man. Round and round she goes. But they still want Abel Perry. That we all know. Unless Abel Perry didn't read ESPN this morning. But they did not say that the fight was canceled yet. So we'll see what's happening. Did you see? Now I don't know if you guys have. I don't know if you guys recall me mentioning this fighter's name or not, but he's a heavyweight, and we have these problems with the sport, and me as being someone who's involved in the sport in many different ways, it's basically my whole life, right? And usually when I start talking to someone, and they find out what I do, whatever, immediately they start talking about the heavyweight division, or the most famous line. And I know if you're a boxing fan, you've heard this when you talk about boxing to someone. They'll come out and they'll start off by saying, "I used to be a good boxing fan," or "I used to be a boxing fan." When Mike Tyson was around. It seems to be like the last time everybody watched it. And, when you think of boxing, generally the heavyweight division comes into mind first and all that. And speaking of heavyweight division, next week we're going to have another episode of our heavyweight spotlight with my man Tony Treem. So make sure you stick around for that, while Tony and I continue to talk about the history of the heavyweight division. So check us out for next week, because we're going to be doing that again. There's this fighter. He's out of Texas, and his nickname is El Nino, David El Nino Rodriguez. This guy's 36 wins, no losses, 34 coming by knockout. Man, he must be good, huh? Yeah, right. Because the first thing you said to yourself was, who the hell is David El Nino Rodriguez? And if you're a diehard fan, you've heard the name and you got a little chuckle. But I'm not kidding you. His record is 36-0, 34 knockouts. Now, if you punch his name up and you look at this guy and you look at his record, you're going to see Owen, what the heck are you still fighting for, Beck, as probably the biggest name on his whole 36 wins. Owen, what the heck you still fighting for, Beck? A guy that someday is going to be eating, basically, slurry food. He's going to be dribbling out of the side of his mouth. Somebody needs to protect him from himself. I'm talking about Owen Beck. This man should not be fighting. And Rodriguez's big claim to fame was his devastating knockout win over Owen. What the heck are you still fighting for, Beck? And, with the exception of that, there's no one on his resume that even resembles a quality fighter. They don't even look like quality fighters. And yet this guy is boasting about a 36-0 record. But no, wait, there's more. Because not only does he have a 36-0 record, do you realize that he has a title? That's right. He's got the WBC FECOMBOX box title. That's right. He's got the title. Yeah, everybody wants that one, right? Well, so let's do this. Let's figure out who we can put Rodriguez in with. This is his promoters talking and manager. Who can we put David El Nino? He should be like El Sprinkle, sprinkle, the rain, sprinkle rain, whatever. I don't know the Spanish word for sprinkle. But, who can we put him in with that might look like a good opponent? Well, I don't know. How about a guy that used to have a belt? Okay, what kind of guy can we find that had a belt of some kind, and he's a heavyweight, and he's this? Oh, what's this? Oh, the WBC. Since the WBC hands out belts and invents belts like chiclets, how about the Caribbean heavyweight champion? Yeah, that's a coveted belt. Manuel Quesada. Quality fighter, right? Yeah, right. His claim to fame was getting beat up by Chris Arreola. Manuel Quesada has a respectable record at 29 wins, 7 losses, 19 coming by knockout, and he was on a recent tear of late. But this guy's not a quality fighter either. He's an opponent just like Rodriguez. So guess what? They matched the two together. It's going to be taking place. I'm not sure of the date, but here's the best part. The best part isn't because it's going to be in Oklahoma. Grand Casino in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Now, I know where Shawnee is. I'm pretty sure that Shawnee, Oklahoma is pretty damn close to Fort Smith, Arkansas. I think it's right over the bridge, if I'm not mistaken. And I did several shows out in Arkansas. And we were looking to do one in Oklahoma at a casino. It might have even been the Shawnee Casino. Oh, no, it was the Shawnee River Casino or something like that. But anyway, here's the best part. No, like I said, it's not because it's in Oklahoma. It's going to be a pay-per-view. Please, correct me if I'm wrong. First of all, pay-per-view, and this isn't going to be a webcast pay-per-view. This is going to be on. I'm not going to mention their name because I don't want to be negative, because the owner of the company or the main bottle watcher there is a friend of mine. So I don't want to bash the company, but I and it's not. There's no reflection on them, but I can't believe that Team Rodriguez is going to pay to put this on. And I want to ask the question that everyone's probably afraid to ask. But who the hell is going to pay for this fight? Who in their right mind would pay anything to see David Rodriguez fight Manuel Quesada? I mean, Is there anyone out there that has an interest in that fight? Is the co-main event going to be something that is going to be? I can't miss that fight. I mean, the whole thing about boxing and the lack of availability to it and stuff like that really is, when people ask us, what's the problem with the sport? What happened to boxing, Billy? See, what's going on? There's so many answers you can give them. You could say that the fighters aren't the same anymore. You could say that the pool of fighters are smaller. You could say, well, the world's greatest fighter right now could be playing linebacker for an NFL team or playing basketball for an NBA team or what have you. There's been so many different opinions and thought processes and everything else about the state of boxing and why and all of that. But one of the common reasons, and myself, you can blame the fighters, you can blame the managers, the promoters. You can't blame the radio guys, but you can blame everybody. And I've gone on record to say that I believe that most blame should actually be on the promoters for their lack of promotion. And really, I mean, if you take the individuals and blame it all, if you're looking to put the biggest burden of blame, would have to go to the promoters. However, I think the main reason that the popularity of boxing has fallen is the lack of the availability of these events on network television or for free. Network television, we use that term now as time goes by. And as the younger people get older, and us older people get older, network television is becoming like kind of what the hell was that? With the choices we have through cable and satellite, and through the computer and all that stuff. I mean, network television is becoming a thing of the past. When, by that definition, not that it doesn't exist anymore. But when we say network television, we refer to it being for free, being that when you used to have a TV that had rabbit ears, let's say, and you could only get 2 channels, those 2 channels were network television, and guess what? You could watch boxing on one of those 2 channels. They used to have boxing on. Now, the closest thing we have to network television is like ESPN. And ESPN, they don't even put their shows on a regular basis. So then we go to other vehicles. We have cable networks like Showtime and HBO and Fight Now and these other television sports-based networks that air boxing for us, okay? But if you don't have that package that has that channel, you don't get to see them. Well, I've said this time and time again, and it's been my platform that webcasts could very well be the network television of the past. Now, we should be watching these fights that are not on ESPN or Fight Now or Showtime or HBO on the internet, through our computers or through our TV, through the internet, whatever. But we should not have to pay for them. Now, occasionally you'll have to pay. If there's a big fight and you got to pay some money, okay, I don't have a problem with that. But generally, the level of shows which we used to see on network television should be on webcast for free. That's my thought process. That's what I believe. I believe that promoters should get off their ass and go sell some network advertising, go sell some webcast advertising, get the sponsorships, pay for a quality production, okay, like they do for television, not sticking one camera and having like Johnny's holding the camera there, and that's what you're watching on your webcast. And, oh, by the way, it's going to cost you $9.99. The website, I'm not going to mention the name, but you know who it is, they ruined the sport by making people think that webcasts are as crappy a quality as they produce and that you got to pay. No one buys them. No one buys them. Do you know, and I may have mentioned it yesterday, I don't recall. I didn't get to listen to yesterday's show again, but do you know that the event that took place in Poughkeepsie, New York, was a pay-per-view, right? On the web. It was a pay-per-view on the web. For $15. They had under 25 views. They had under 20 views. Okay, 20 people. Less than 20 people paid $15 to watch it. And those 20 people were probably related to the fighters. It doesn't work. But let me tell you this. If it's for free, everybody will watch it. And that's the key. That's the key. If you go and look on LDL TV or over the weekend, they do a best of our shows. The Talking Box with Billy C radio show gets replayed on the internet over the weekend, and John's pulling in 25 to 50,000 views over the weekend just for the replays of our show. And this is a show that's a talk show that people watch and sit there and listen to, and we're getting those kinds of hits. And the numbers are right there. Go look at the site, ldltv.com. Check it out. My point isn't to promote that. My point is the fact that the promoters are missing the boat. In this case, it's even worse. When you're looking at David Rodriguez, who's a joke. I mean, this guy is a joke. There is not one top heavyweight, and even as bad as the heavyweight division is, there's not one top heavyweight that wouldn't rip this guy a new one. This guy is a joke to the sport. He's a joke to be bragging about a 36-0 record. And you know what? What if this guy fights, 10, 12, 13 more fights, and next thing you know, he's 50-0, and he breaks Marciano's record, of being undefeated heavyweight champ, or this guy isn't a champ, but undefeated heavyweight record. I mean, does he get any recognition? I certainly hope not. So to me, this is a joke. But here's the thing. It's not even a webcast. It's regular television pay-per-view. So you're going to be spending at least $25 for this. Give me a break. Anyway, boxing could really get a boost if promoters decided to make webcasts, if all promoters decided to make webcasts of boxing events, club show level, for free. Then you look to channels like Fight Now and ESPN and Showtime and HBO for your next, quality and championship bouts. I mean, end of story. That's the way it should be. But anyway, Jean Pascal was a fighter who fought in Montreal several times. And the last time that there was a boxing event at the Holiday Inn in Montreal, Jean Pascal was fighting as an amateur against a guy right now that's being regarded as a really, really top contender in Adonis Stevenson. And everybody that was there, it was for the Canadian Championship and the amateurs. It took place in 2003. It was just, people were nuts for this fight. Well, guess what? There's a new show. The next show that they're having there is this weekend. And it's going to be according to the promoter, a top-level show. As a matter of fact, there are the main event is Derry Jean, who's 21-0 with 14 knockouts, is fighting for the NABF junior welterweight title against Cosme Rivera. Now, Cosme Rivera is not a bad fighter, man. You can't look at his record: 35 wins, 14 losses, 3 draws, 24 knockouts. But he's a tough guy, and I think it's going to be a big test for Gene on Saturday. Another fight that's taking place on Saturday that was kind of a last-minute thing. We talked about it yesterday. Undefeated heavyweight contender, I guess we'll call him, Francisco Pineda, is 25-0 with a draw. 14 of his W's coming by knockout. Was supposed to be taking on Francis Botha tomorrow night, Wednesday, in Germany. But Francis Botha got hurt last week, late last week, and had to pull out of the fight. So Oliver McCall, former WBC champ, who's 40 years old at least right now. I'm pretty sure he's 40. He's got a record of 56 wins, 11 losses, 37 coming by knockout. I think one of the most solid chins in the history of the sport. Is decided that he's going to take the fight. He accepted the fight. So he's going to be fighting Francisco tomorrow night in Germany. Now, also on that card is former champion. She's still a champion. I was confusing her with Ina Menza. But the Killer Queen, Susie Quintentian, is 29-0 with 16 knockouts. She's got not one, not two, but 3 belts, and she's taking on Melissa McMorrow. Now, here's the problem with the female divisions. Susie's, the Killer Queen, is 29-0, right? 16 knockouts. And Melissa McMorrow is 6 wins, 3 losses, and 3 draws. Not a knockout on her record after 12 professional fights. And, you know, sometimes we get to blame the promoter or the manager or the fighter saying, oh, man, look at who they're fighting. They're not even, fighting anyone good or anything else. But then other times we got to look at the division and say, who's out there, In this case, Killer Queen, she's got not one, not two, but 3 world title belts. She's got almost 30 professional fights under her belt. She's got more knockouts under her belt than McMorrow has total fights. It's not cool, man. It's not cool. They need to step up Killer Queen's level of opposition, especially in title defenses. Now, she's a pretty woman. Maybe they don't want her to get busted up, but come on. And she's a big ticket seller. But as for the main event, a couple of quotes in the press conference yesterday. Francisco Piñaz says, Oliver McCall is a very experienced guy. He's boxed against the best, but if I want to get in the top 10, I got to beat this guy. No kidding. Oliver McCall, he says, Francisco's a young guy. He's still green. I want to show him that old-time boxers like me don't belong on the scrap heap. I've studied him for a long time, and he still makes many, many errors. It's my job to show him this. Also, for me, it's always a special challenge to compete against an undefeated fighter. If I deliver a spectacular fight, maybe the Klitschkos will come knocking on my door. They'll come now at my age. Here's the thing. That line, it's my job to show him. I'm hoping that he meant I'm going to show him that, the old fighters shouldn't belong on the scrap heap. But that line could also mean Oliver McCall's been a sparring partner for a while, and maybe his mindset now is just to, give his opponents a tough go, and that wouldn't be too cool for us anyway. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Talk about heavyweights. Odlanier Solis is getting back in the ring after his whatever the injury was. It was his knee. He ended up staying in a German hospital for almost a month. I think it was 3.5 weeks to get sewn up and get all his surgery taken care of. He's getting back in the ring for the first time since that fight. And it's taking place on Saturday. He's taking on a pretty tough guy in Constant Arik, who's 23 wins, 5 losses, and a couple of draws. He's ranked in the top 12 by a couple of the major sanctioning bodies. He's going to be coming over here, as a matter of fact, Arik, to fight Odlanier Solis. And it's going to be taking place in Texas on the undercard, as part of an undercard, I should say. And Odlanier Solis, his record is 17-1 with 12 knockouts. And this will be the first fight since his fight against Vitaly Klitschko that lasted less than 1 round. I find Solis an interesting character. He, in my opinion, his mindset was that he won the biggest fight of his career by just coming over to the U.S. on his coconut raft or however he got here. And since he's been here, I think he's been an underachiever as far as I'm concerned. What I find amusing is listening to his team and people that are big fans of Solis talk about how he was winning that fight against Vitaly Klitschko before his knee gave out or whatever. And I disagree. I mean, I thought Klitschko was winning the fight. Solis's management was like, well, everybody on the planet saw that Odlanier was winning, and everybody knew that he was going to knock out Klitschko. I'm like, what's he talking about, man? I didn't see that, So he's got a chance. He's got a chance here. I mean, I'm not saying that Konstantin Arik is a world beater, but a win over him at least gets gets him back in the discussion. Odlanier Solis, I'm talking about. But I got some chat room talk. He says Solis was winning the round. I disagree with you, Joe Ko. How could you say he was winning the round? Murphy's saying, yeah, he was winning the first 2.5 minutes. What? Because he was just launching punches? Did he land any? I mean, come on, man. And even if he does win the round, well, that doesn't prove anything. I don't think he was hands down winning it. That's my point. I mean, it's neither here nor there whether he won the round. He never got out of the round. So he didn't win the round. Never got out of it. The round, ended before he ended on the ground. And, he never got out of the round. And Dave Murphy is exactly expressing my point. And Dave Murphy's point is who cares about the first round? He didn't get past it. He didn't get out of it. He didn't win the fight. He didn't even come on. I mean, it wasn't a blowout round. We can't sit here and say that there was hands down, everyone that watched that fight thought that Solis won that first round, because that's not the case. So it was at least close enough to have a discussion on it. And with that said, how can you make a statement like Team Solis did, saying that that everyone knows that their guy was winning that fight and would have went on to win? I mean, how do you make that statement? You can't. You can't. I know why you make that statement. You make that statement because you're trying to get another shot at the guy and another shot at the payday. So, but anyway, I got an email about the murder. Allen Robinson. He was 31 years old. He shot and killed a 20-year-old after the Francisco Suarez was the 20-year-old after the Mayweather fight against Cotto. Because he was drunk, and the guy who killed him, Allen Robinson, was drunk and wanted to get more beer or whatever he was drinking, and a convenience store clerk turned him down, and he went out and tried to get Suarez to go in the store and buy him and his buddy beer, and they started talking, said they just got done watching the fight, blah, blah, blah. And Suarez was like, I'm not a Mayweather fan. Next thing you know, Allen Robinson pulls out a gun and shoots and kills this kid, over that. And I got an email about it that they didn't see it. Well, it was written in the Denver Post. And if you want to check it out. If you go up to thedenverpost.com, you can do a search on this, and you can find it. So check that one out. I'm trying to see what day it was posted, but it may have been on May 10th or May 9th. So look May 9th or May 10th for that. But anyway, yeah, and just to get the facts straight, the WBC had announced on May 11th that the paperwork has been signed and sealed for Chavez Jr. against Martinez, providing Chavez beats Andy Lee in June, that fight will take place in September. But then again, they also wrote on that same press release that they're officially approving the Andy Lee fight so that Andy Lee and Chavez can fight in June, when we all know that fight not only has been signed, but it's been being promoted for 3 weeks already. So it's kind of funny. But anyway, exactly. He's talking still about the Solis thing. He says, since when did they schedule one-round fights? Exactly. He says the question would have been whether you give Klitschko a 10-8 or 10-9 round. Solis did go down. Well, that's my whole point about that whole issue, Murph. Not only did he go down, you give... listen, most judges would have scored that a 10-8 round. The only time you can score a 10-9 is if the other guy was dominating the round, and then doesn't it become based on the 10-point must system? So let's say Murph and I are fighting, and I'm dominating the round, and then with 2 seconds left, Murphy drops me, and up to that point, Murphy didn't throw a punch at all, and he drops me, and I go down, I get back up, I'm not hurt, and the round ends. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way the scoring would be, the way you score it is you go 10-9 for me, right, because I was winning the round, but then the knockdown, you subtract a point. So doesn't it become a 9-9 round, or does it automatically, I think most judges would automatically score it 10-8 in favor of Murphy because of the knockdown. I don't think that a lot of fighters, a lot of judges will score it 10-9 the other way when you have a knockdown. So that round would have been scored 10-8, I believe, in favor of Klitschko. Anyway, that's why I'm not an official judge. But my man Harold Letterman is. And you know how great he does. I think he does a great job. But anyway, let me take a break. When I come back, we're scheduled to have Amy Green in about 2.
The 2012 Summer Olympic Games unfold in 5 months in London. The honor and the history of playing host goes back a long way. How long? That's next on Sports Shorts with me, the Sports Princess.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Legend has it that the Olympics go back to Hercules, but let's leave Greek mythology out of it. The modern games opened in 1896. Since Athens couldn't afford to put them on, a businessman ponied up the coin. Pole vaulting, weightlifting, shot put, and swimming, few of the handful of events. Since those days, some of the original sports remain. Others come and go, depending on the whims of the International Olympic Committee. Australia, France, Germany, and China have hosted summer games, and this will be the 3rd time for London. As for the winter games, the U.S. has hosted them 4 times since they started in 1924 in France, featuring sports like alpine cross-country skiing, figure skating, and such. Between the summer and the winter games, there are hundreds of sports and thousands of athletes. You never know what city is going to get a crack at hosting next. I'm the Sports Princess with Sports Shorts.
Talking Boxing with Billy C. Every week, 2 hours of the best boxing talk on the radio.
Mike Tyson looked like he put on some pounds. He was fat. He went into McDonald's and he just said to them, hey, give me 6 of everything on the menu. He put on 2 watches and covered 2 time zones. I'm talking fat here. Got on a scale the other day and it said, come on, one of you guys got to get off. Last thing I heard is that he jumped into the ocean and he left a ring around the continent. He's fat.
Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talking Boxing with Billy C.
The one, the only, Don King.
Makes me feel good, Billy, to have you, the #1 show in the country, Talking Boxing with Billy. So I invite each and every American that's listening to this great show to tune in, because we want you to be there with Billy and me.
St. Jimmy's coming down across the alleyway. Up on the boulevard like a zip gun on parade. Lights on the silhouette. He's just a button edge. Coming at you on the count of 1.
1, 2, 3, 4. And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C, a radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. And, hey, if you don't have Fight Now on your sports channel lineup, you got to call your local TV provider and tell them that you want Fight Now right now. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and call them. For all the information about the channel, you can find it at their website, www.fightnow.com. Hey, I just want to point something out. Murph and I are chatting in the room here real quick, and just so you know how that point system works, 10-point must means somebody gets a 10-point, right? The only time that you don't get 10 points is if, and we just talked about this, if I'm fighting Murphy and I won the round, the referee, the judge would score at 10-9 in favor of me, right? But what happens if the referee took a point away from me because I was holding or I headbutted him or something like that? Then that score becomes 9-9. That's when you deduct a point. When I was explaining it before, it didn't sound right. But I'll tell you who's going to make me sound right now is Amy Green. She joins us all the way from Oklahoma. What's up, Amy?
Hey, Billy, how are you?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. What's going on? Tell us about what's happening in the world of women's boxing.
Well, I guess there's no way to avoid it. It's going to be coming up very soon. I don't know the exact date. It is the rematch between Holly Holm and Anne-Sophie Mathis.
Oh, I can't wait to do that. I was informed that I'm going to be doing the commentary again, so I'm excited about that. We actually did a preview on that. Dax Khan and myself did a preview video on that we put up there. Did you get a chance to see it?
No, I haven't. Aren't they calling that card The Reckoning?
Yeah, it's called The Reckoning, and let's talk a little about that. What does Holly have to do to win the fight?
I reckon she needs to come with a better game plan than she did in December.
Or
not abandon her usual run and hit or hit and run. I mean, she can't go toe to toe with Mathis. That's already a given. And I think if her team ever had a clue or a plan, they need to put it in place now, or we're going to see another disaster. And she's going to have a second loss in a row.
Yeah, well, first of all, there was a couple of things about that fight. First of all, the ring was too small for her. I think that they should definitely have a bigger ring. Second of all, she needs to box and not worry about going toe to toe. And keep in mind, she was smaller than Anne-Sophie Mathis, which I think was the first time I've ever seen her not as tall as her opponent or taller. She's first of all, she's got all the advantages in the fact that she's going to be fighting at home, as usual, and then that's all she knows how to do is to move and use her mobility. She's not hugely powerful like Mathis or some of the other girls. She's certainly not as strong as maybe Chevelle is. But she just cannot resist. She's got to resist the temptation to stand in there and just go toe to toe with her. I really don't know how if she just threw caution to the wind in December and let herself get caught, or if she just thought she wished she would get the better of it. But she's going to have to stay focused and not get out of her game plan. And I don't know where she'll be mentally after a knockout like that. She's taken some time off, done a lot. She's a newlywed now. She got married April 27th, and I don't really know where her mind could be after such a knockout like that. That was horrible. I think she had total failure in the corner and in the referee as well. I agree with both of those statements. First of all, the referee. I know Rocky Burke, and he's a great guy, and for the most part, he's a fantastic referee. I think what happened in that fight was that he was trying to give her a break, and instead it almost got her killed. And as far as the corner, I hate to put the blame because I know the whole team. I know Holly Holm's team very well. I like them all. Yeah, I know. And I like them all, and just like you do. I mean, they're just great to be around. However, I think that, like Dax put it, he said sometimes the corner has more guts for their fighters than the fighters do, and they're too tough for their own fighter. In other words, Winklejohn should have kept her in that corner and waved off the fight. And just, why make her take that last beating? But, hey, you know what? She's back. I saw some shots of her after the wedding. She looks gorgeous, as usual. She's in good shape. She'll come prepared. This time I think she'll try to do what she does best, outbox her. Now the question is, what does Anne-Sophie Mathis have to do to come out and win again? I mean, is she going to be able to, lure Holly into a slugfest? Because really, that's the only way she's going to beat her.
I think that she could if she just goes out and she has a single-minded focus, just like she did. Unless Holly is totally gun-shy, then she's just gonna. Then it's going to look like Mathis she's gonna have to be able to derail Holly. Otherwise, she could beat her up terribly without ever knocking her down or knocking her out, and then Holly's gonna run away with the win, and it'll be inconclusive. I believe that Mathis will still be the stronger, tougher fighter, but Holly wins by just not by so much being the better boxer or the better fighter, but by being just a little bit more athletic. Mathis is just going to have to dig in like she did, and she's going to have to think on her feet. She's going to have to be able to figure out a way to get Holly out of her game plan or be there at her own game. I'm sure the ring right now is going to be as big as, as anywhere the Lakers plays. I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be about like that. And then that'll allow Holly some room for comfort and some room for a win. And if that's the case, then Mathis leaves New Mexico with a defeat.
Well, I think that what I saw with Mathis, and I was ringside, and what I saw with Mathis is that, number one, she's first of all, let me start off by saying, if you look at this woman, you would never think she's a fighter. I mean, she doesn't have that fighter's body. She's not tight. She's not, muscular or anything. She just doesn't look. She's a female version of what was that guy's name? I can't think of his name right now. But she looks sort of the heavyweight Moritz Wach. Is Karmazin, Roman Karmazin. She reminds me of Roman Karmazin, just her body, her build, and everything else. But she's very patient. She obviously has power. And, she wills her style on her opponent. And that's what she did to Holly, because a lot of people forget that fight. The first 3 rounds was pretty much Holly doing what Holly does best. And then all of a sudden, at one point, Holly landed a shot or two that, it looked like she stunned Ann a little bit. And then she changed her game plan and went toe-to-toe. So I think that Ann has to do exactly what she did in the first fight, try to cut the ring off, get Holly against the ropes and in the corner, and try and keep her there.
I agree. And, like I said, I did not have the benefit of being a ringside. I just saw YouTube. But she is patient, and she's a smart fighter. And I think she knows exactly what she has to do. And I think a lot of how the tide will turn during the fight is going to depend on Holly's state of mind. You don't know. You could have all the plan in the world until you get in the ring, and like I guess it was Mike Tyson says, or several other people, everything changes. You've got a plan until you get hit, and that's going to be where Holly's going to have to rely on a little bit of experience, and she's also going to have to rely on her corner a little bit better, because once Mathis gets in and makes that adjustment, if Holly is even off her game for a second, it's going to be curtains.
One question I asked Dax, and he said no. He disagreed with me. But if Holly wins this second fight, do you think we'd see a trilogy? Do you think we'd see a third fight between the two?
I doubt it. Lenny Frescas isn't going to risk a third time. He's just not going to risk it. I don't know how much longer. If she wins this fight, Holly will even compete. Signs to me look like, and I haven't spoken with her or anything, signs to me look like she might be, what else is there for her to do? Who else is there for her to fight unless it's, somebody that absolutely won't participate and come to Albuquerque and that demands that she goes there. There's really very little left for her to do. She may try the MMA way, but she hasn't been successful. But I'm really looking for, if she wins, she just may, it might be a slum song.
Well, first of all, the reason why she stays and fights in Albuquerque is because, they sell out every time, and she can make more money, and so can her opponent. So, I think she gets a bad rap about that. Second of all,
that's all very, convenience is priceless. You can't put on a price. You can't put a price on what she has been able to do and what Lenny has afforded her to do. But saving going out of her zip code, out of her time zone, out of her area code, I don't think there's much more she can do. She's done all she can. She's fought Chevelle Hallback twice. She has faced any number of female opponents that are good, bad, and indifferent, like Christy Martin and Mia St. John. So, and she's never avoided anybody. She's been able to have everything on her own terms. Why not, if you get this win, go out like that and not be remembered as you were crumpled in December?
No, that's a great point, and I also do think that her career is definitely winding down. I mean, she's if she has this fight and comes out victorious, it wouldn't shock me to see her walk away. I think that the money would be pretty lucrative to have her fight a third fight against Sophie Mathis. There's really nothing else out there, like you just alluded to, for her. There is the Cecilia Brækhus fight, but I honestly, the more I look at Cecilia Brækhus, the less valuable I see her, and I'll tell you why. I know people could be looking at me with their eyes crossed and say, "What are you talking about? She's got 3 belts." The reason is because realistically, she doesn't fight the quality of opposition that Holly fights. She fought Chevelle Halbach. Cecilia Brækhus did one time, and very controversial fight. I mean, Chevelle Halbach won that fight, and she won't even fight her again. And yet she picks up all these fighters with no experience and gets wins, and people are talking about her as being better than Holly. I don't think Holly needs to fight her. I think that a third fight with Mathis would be more lucrative money-wise than a fight with Brækhus. That's just my thoughts. Anyway, if it becomes the fight of the year that people think it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it would pay for Lenny to consider doing something with Brækhus. After all, should she get by Mathis comfortably and in one piece? But if not, leave Brækhus where she is and let Holly go off into the sunset. I mean, like I said, she's married now. She has fought just about everybody that they've paid to come see her, and so what else could she do? Now she could do more if Lenny Frescas had made her a bit more visible in the country. She could have a ton of endorsements. The world could have been unlimited to her, but that never really was a significant choice. After she had the ESPY nomination and beat Mary Jo Sanders, she should have been able to have some sort of huge media tour and do some things that may make her a little bit more recognizable on a national level. You could have looked up and seen her on Dancing with the Stars or on Donald Trump's Apprentice if they'd given her some more mainstream exposure. But if not, she goes through the fight with Mathis, whatever the outcome is, and then she maybe just sails off into the sunset.
Yeah, again, who knows what she's going to do, and I have a feeling that her time is limited. But Chad Dawson, I know you like Chad, and Andre Ward is a quality fighter. They're talking about fighting each other. What's your thoughts on that, considering Andre Ward, most of us think that, providing Lucien Bute beats Carl Froch in a few weeks, that we all kind of wanted to see Andre Ward fight Bute before he left the division. What's your thoughts on him possibly leaving the super middleweight division and going up to face Chad Dawson before fighting Bute?
I think it would give Chad Dawson a little bit more of a live challenge than Bernard Hopkins, and I hate to say that because a lot of the fight with Hopkins was not as mental as it was physical. I think that'd be I think they would be a good fight, and I think that it would give Andre Ward a bit of a challenge, and I think it would encourage Chad Dawson to live up to some of the potential he may have just fallen short of, even in victory. Sometimes they say he gets complacent, he lacks energy and excitement. This is going to make him have to prove that he's worthy of the achievement he just achieved in beating Bernard Hopkins.
What was your thoughts? I mean, I hate to bring it up because we get so many emailers, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts of Floyd versus Cotto. I was impressed with Cotto, to tell you the truth, and I don't think there's any fights left for Floyd except for Manny Pacquiao. That's it. And if they can't make that fight, I could see Floyd walking away. What's your thoughts?
I think that Cotto was impressive in that he finished, and I think he was impressive for staying in there with Floyd. I do think rounds 6, 7, and 8 were just Floyd's way of encouraging Cotto to bring out his warrior, and he survived it. I think any given time when he was just kind of hanging out on the ropes, he had ample opportunity and a way to get away from him, and I'm not saying he just laid there, but I'm just saying he afforded Cotto some opportunities make it a good, exciting fight. Yeah, it was a good fight all the way around. Miguel Cotto is not nearly as fast or intuitive in the ring, and I think over and all it was a good fight. I don't see Pacquiao having success with Floyd Mayweather, and that is the only fight for them left. And then after that, what challenge would Timothy Bradley be for Floyd Mayweather? What challenge is he for Manny Pacquiao, for that matter?
Don't underestimate Timothy Bradley. I can't stand when people are like, yeah, he's overrated. He's not. He's a real fighter. I think he's going to give Pacquiao a tough fight. I really do.
I think he will. I think it's not going to be a pretty fight. I think there may be some fouls. I think that, Manny Pacquiao has to, he doesn't have the mental acuity in the ring that Floyd does. It's just like he's like a little buzzsaw. It's like a little Filipino buzzsaw. I mean, he just has, hard charging, fast, aggressive style at all angles. And I don't think he has like I said, the ring acuity to to wait it out and not let things happen. I think he and Bradley could have what could potentially be an ugly fight. There could be some headbutts, some fouls, just he'll come out on top. But Timothy Bradley won't make it a walk in the park. I'm hoping he looks better against Bradley than he did Marquez. Otherwise, that'll be a waste of some money.
Yeah, no, we'll see. I think it's going to be competitive. What's your thoughts on the this whole Amir Khan and Lamont, you dummy, Peterson?
On what?
On Lamont Peterson and Amir Khan, this whole steroid thing.
Oh, what a mess. I mean, if it wasn't messy enough with Amir Khan having all these conspiracy theories, and I mean, he's gotten everybody, but it's just it's a mess. I don't know. I would never have suspected Lamont Peterson for any sort of negative substance, over the counter, under counter, from the street corner, or whatever. But it doesn't lend Khan any credibility that much. But it's a mess, and it's scrapped an entire card from last I read, and I think it's never going to prove who really won the first time, even when they do rematch, because there's too much negative back and forth and drama going on around it. I think it's a shame, because I've always admired Lamont Peterson and thought he was a good fighter and overcame a lot of odds growing up, but this is a mess. It's terrible.
The thing is first of all, I don't think anybody I don't like cheaters. So, I mean, I want to make sure that everybody understands that. But, nothing for nothing, but why did they even open up their mouth saying that he took the stuff in the first fight? I mean, testing positive for this one is one thing, but then admitting that you took the same stuff prior to the other fight, now that's why he's getting stripped and why he most likely will be stripped and the fight will be ruled a no contest. I mean, that should have just been kept quiet, honestly. I mean, it didn't show up in any tests at all. And even a good lawyer would say just that. Say, hey, he just is, he thought he took it. He didn't take it. I mean, I don't know, man. What's your thoughts on that?
Silence is golden, man. He should have shut the hell up and not said a word and then gone on down the road, beat Khan again, and then, then we wouldn't, it wouldn't be a disgrace.
Yeah, no,
that's exactly what it is. I mean, I think a lot of people could beat Amir Khan without resorting to banned substances, but now we're never. It's a mess, and like you said, he shouldn't have said anything to begin with. Nothing showed up in pre or post fight test, and that's what he should have done. He should have quit while he was ahead.
Yeah. You had some other stuff that you wanted to mention. Did you have some other things you wanted to talk about?
Well, just, here we are at the midpoint of the year. I was reviewing my year-end wish for what was going to happen in 2012 for boxing, and I've not seen any results so far yet. We're still yet to see female boxing on a premium cable show, a premium channel like HBO or Showtime. We still don't have anything going on between Pacquiao and Mayweather, except some arguing over money and Floyd going to prison and Manny.
He's not going to. Hey, let me stop you right there. He's not. Let me stop you right there. He's not going to prison. Yeah, I can't stand when people say.
I'm sorry, the Clark County Jail.
Exactly. He's going to a country club. Go ahead, finish up.
That is not a country club.
Well, it is no real jail.
It is hardly a country club.
It's no real
not
jail.
Federal time.
Yeah,
but it's a Clark County Jail. County jails are usually worse than some prison facilities. From what I understand, the one here in Comanche County is horrible. So, jail is jail. It's never a walk in the park. I don't think it's going to be that hard for Floyd, but that's what he has to look forward to for, almost 90 days. And then you've got, Manny Pacquiao worrying about Tim Bradley or not. And then still we're in the same boat as we are with women, with Holly being the only large name out there, and we're not sure what's going to happen with her. So almost 6 months after my year-end prediction and hopes for boxing, I haven't seen a lot of progress so far. I'm kind of hoping for some bombshells.
Well, we'll see. I think that I think we did have some decent young fighter matchups over the last couple of months, and there's some good ones on the slate, but we'll have to wait and see. Once Pacquiao Bradley's over, we'll see what shakes out. But yeah, man, that whole jail thing with Mayweather cracks me up because he's not going to do 90 days. I'm predicting, I said it from day one, he will not do 30. He will not do 30 days. Somehow they'll let him out because it's overcrowded there and everything else. And he's a celebrity. He's going to cause more distractions in that county jail and anything else. And it's nothing like a real prison. Nothing. Maybe in Oklahoma the county jails are like prison, but not in Vegas, not in New York, not in New Jersey, not any county jail I've seen, but anyway, hey, you're right about one thing. Nobody wants to be behind bars, especially a guy like Floyd does not want to be dictated to when he can, go to the bathroom, when he eats, when he's got to be in his cell, but he's going to get special treatment. I predict that he comes out with a cast on his hand because of all the autographs he signs.
I'm going to be surprised if he does it even more time than Lindsay Lohan ever did.
Yeah, they're saying in the chat room he's going to be treated. I hope he gets, like Joe just says, yeah, he's going to get treated. He's going to get 3 meals a day and treated like a princess. I hope he gets treated like a princess in there, but that's why I wanted him to go to prison. I wanted him to go to a real prison where somebody would call him his what, but county jail.
And that's just cruel on a whole nother level because, first of all, he didn't do anything that really deserved a prison.
What, beating up his wife, beating up his girlfriend, smacking his girlfriend multiple times in front of his kids, doing it more than once? I mean, he finally admitted.
I think that she shouldn't been. I don't think she should have been using his spousal support money to support a young NBA player or paying for his phone. So maybe there's cause and effect there.
Well, the phone issue was the kids' phones. They never said it was for the NBA guy's phone.
I don't know. Maybe I just heard that.
Yeah, maybe you did. Hey, I would agree with you if that were the case, but I never heard that.
That was my understanding that the case was the reason they did have a little argument, as you could call it, or a little domestic skirmish.
It was her.
He was sick and tired of his money being used for support of other people.
No,
and
he was.
In this case, a young up and coming athlete, and that's that's something I heard here and there from some people that would see Floyd occasionally here and there in Las Vegas, and I'm just passing that along. So I can't say it's never right to get into a domestic situation with a female, but sometimes when push comes to shove, and you find out you're paying for somebody else's lifestyle, I can see where losing your temper may be justified.
He was mad at her for him paying for all the cell phones. That's what started the argument, I guess. And he was jealous because she had another boyfriend. That's what started the whole thing. But the incident that he eventually got burned for was, hitting her in front of the kids and not allowing his kids to run for help because he had all his bodyguards with him. So it was, and that wasn't just one time. I'm sure he would have gotten off if it was just a one-time thing, but it had happened multiple times. Plus, remember all the other issues him beating up the 19-year-old security guard and all of that stuff and whatever. But, Amy?
Somewhere in the middle of this, the truth will be, and I don't guess we'll ever really know it. Nobody but Floyd will know it. And we'll see in 87 days or less just what happens.
Yeah, I agree with that we don't know the truth, and Floyd does deserve, that part of it anyway. And like they say, there's always three sides to every story: his, hers, and then the truth. So we'll.
And his, there's no telling.
This is true, but hers too. But anyway, Amy, I appreciate you coming on this early, and we'll look forward to you next time.
Okay, and I do have a word from our good buddy from the green room, Lorenzo Boyd. He says to tell Billy C. hello, and he will enjoy visiting with you again pre-fight next time.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Tell him I said thanks.
Absolutely.
All right, Amy, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right, take care. That's our women's boxing expert, Amy Green. I'm having trouble with the English language today, man. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think maybe somebody slipped me a Mickey or something.
Wake up. It's time for It's too early for a trivia question.
But then again, I have trouble with the English language every day. Today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question. Question is being brought to you by Star Boxing and their Friday Night Fight event, which is taking place this Friday night at the Albany Times-Union. Get yourself some tickets right now by visiting their website through ours, www.billycboxing.com. Click the fight poster that you see, Star Boxing, and get some tickets. Make sure you tell them Billy C sent you. On the line for this trivia question, which I'm dying to give out, I'm ready to give the answer out, is Clay Moyle's newest book. It's called Billy Miskey, the St. Paul Thunderbolt. You can get yourself a copy by visiting the Billy C Boxing Book Club, or you can win this copy right now. Also on the line, we added an extra bonus. It's a collector's edition Rocky Marciano commemorative phone card. It was put out in the 90s. Shows his knockout over Jersey Joe Walcott, courtesy of Pugilistica.com. If you can get this question right, when was the first bout in which the details of the official scoring were announced by the ring announcer? When was the first bout in which the details of the official scoring were announced by the ring announcer? I told you, I gave you a 5-year span. Today, I'm going to give you the year it took place in, damn it. All right? 1944, all right? It took place in 1944. Which bout was the first bout in which the details of the official scoring were announced by the ring announcer? It took place in 1944. Email me the correct answer for these two prizes, Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com.
This day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by Campanaro and Tomkovich. Use the lawyers that keep me out of trouble. That's Campanaro and Tomkovich. Give them a call today, 845-221-4099. On this day, May 15th, in 1987, Evander Holyfield knocks out Ricky Parkey in the third round to win not a heavyweight title. He won the IBF World Cruiserweight title, and that took place on this day, May 15th, in 1987, in Las Vegas. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. Don't forget, we got our special Thumbs Up, Thumbs Down show coming on immediately following this one. But right now, I got one thing to say. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, same bat time, same bat channel, the Fight Now channel. Of course, call your local television provider right now and tell them you want the Fight Now channel and your sports channel lineup. For all the information about Fight Now, visit their website, www.fightnow.com. See you all tomorrow. Ciao, baby.